In front of me is a Sony X75 TV, specifically the KD-50X75WL. This particular model was released back in 2023, so it's not really that old, but unfortunately it no longer displays anything on the screen. It's already gone through the factory reset process, which is about as much as you can do without opening it up, and it's still got the same issue, so in this video I'm going to have a go at trying to fix it. I'll just show you what the TV is currently doing, and you'll just have to excuse any reflections on the screen, or if the camera goes out of focus. It really doesn't seem to like trying to record this screen. So it's currently turned off, but if I turn it on, you can see the LED lights up, the backlight does come on, but we're not getting any picture on the screen. The sound does also work. You can hear, if I press buttons, you can hear the navigation sounds, and the backlight does also respond when I'm pressing buttons as if I'm going through menus. So it does seem like the TV is otherwise working fine, we're just not getting that display output onto the screen. So that's what it's currently doing. I'm going to get it unplugged now, lay it face down, and try and figure out how we can get inside it. This particular TV is mostly held together with clips. The only screws are the ones used to mount it to a mounting bracket. I've already removed those, so I'm just going to go around the edge now to try and release the clips. And once I've got it open, I'll show you where the clips are so that you've got a better idea of what you're working with. It looks like the bottom edge is clipped on slightly differently, so I've gone around the other three edges, and I think I should have it pretty much all unclipped now. So I'm going to start lifting from the top edge, and hopefully it should come away quite easily. Yep, so that wasn't too bad in the end. They are quite awkward to get to, some of these clips, but they're not too bad once you know what you're working with. So as promised, here's a close-up of the clip on the rear panel. And as you can see, it is inset a little bit from the outer edge, and you might see some clips a bit closer to the edge that actually are for the front bezel, not for the rear panel. So you do have to reach inside a bit more to try and get access to these. And this is a close-up of what they clip onto. And here's what the clips look like along the bottom edge of the TV. And these ones can actually be seen on the outside of the TV. Looking back, it would probably be easiest to start from the bottom, work your way down the two sides, and then try and hinge it open from the bottom edge rather than the top edge, which is what I ended up doing. So the part that I want to get access to first is the T-Con, and that's a board that sits below this metal plate, and I know that because it's labelled. So first thing I need to do to get to that is unplug this speaker. The reason I'm looking at the T-Con board is it sits in between the main board that will be generating the picture to display on the screen and the panel drivers that are responsible for directly altering the display panel to show the required picture. The T-Con board sits right in the middle of those two, so if you've got any display issues, the T-Con board is usually a good place to start. I've removed the 4 screws holding the metal plate. I've just got to unclip this piece that holds the power button in place, and then I should be able to lift the T-Con's metal cover out of the way. There's also a bit of tape holding it down. Let's get that out of the way. And there is our exposed T-Con board, which is hopefully going to give us a better idea of what exactly is wrong with this TV. So to start, I'm going to unplug the left-hand output cable, which is at the bottom of the T-Con board. Each of these cables is responsible for connecting to the panel drivers for half of the display. So by unplugging one of these, seeing if we get anything on the screen, we can get an idea of whether the T-Con board's faulty or whether the fault lies in one of the panel drivers. With the left-hand cable unplugged, which drives the right-hand half of the screen, we still had the same result. But after plugging this cable back in and unplugging the right-hand cable responsible for the left half of the screen, so we've got picture now. It's only half a picture, which is to be expected, but the display panel is now showing something. And this is actually really useful because this tells us that in all likelihood the T-Con board itself is perfectly fine. What's probably happening is one of the drivers, which drives the left hand half of the panel, has developed some sort of fault, and that fault is causing the T-Con board to go into some sort of protection mode and switching itself off. And that would explain why we're not getting any output at all, despite the fact that half of the screen is clearly still working. So how can we try to fix this? What we can do is try and block some of the signals going from the T-Con board to the panel driver to see if we can figure out exactly which connection or connections, it could be more than one, is causing the T-Con to switch off. That's not necessarily going to give us a good picture, but it will give us a starting point and an idea of exactly what we're dealing with. To do this, I'm going to be putting a bit of Kapton tape over part of the cable before clipping it into the connector. You'll find quite a few videos of people doing similar things to this, and you might be wondering, how do I know which signals I need to block? And unfortunately, it really is a trial and error, not least because the exact fault on your TV might be different to someone else's. So I'm going to start by putting this bit of tape on the left hand side of the cable and try turning the TV on and see what it does. And now, with just that one piece of tape on there, we've already managed to get a full picture. It's clearly not perfect, you can see there's a lot of flickering, and it wouldn't be watchable in this state, but it does mean that we've already managed to cover whichever connection or connections were triggering the T-Con board to switch off. I'm going to do a little bit of work off camera now, a bit of trial and error, and see if I can narrow down exactly what's causing the issue. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but I've figured out now that it's pin 5 that is causing the problem. I have got a little bit of tape on there, so I'm going to plug this in now and show you what it's now doing with that pin covered. So as you can see, we're still getting these glitches, and it's important to remember that a lot of the signals driving the panel do work together, so once you start blocking some of them, it's not too much of a surprise that you can end up with display issues. That said, it is useful to know exactly what you need to block to ensure that you actually get a display output at all. I'm going to have a play with this a little bit more and see if I can get a better picture, and hopefully when we come back to it, I'll have managed to get rid of some of this flickering. Good news, I've managed to get a picture that I'm happy with, and I'll just show you now the piece of tape that I had to put onto this cable. It's even bigger than the first piece of tape that I tried. I had to block quite a few of the connections in the end to get a picture that wasn't flickering and looked decent. And I'll plug the TV back in now so that you can see what the picture looks like. I spent a bit of time watching this and I can't see anything wrong with it now. There's no flickering, the picture looks fine, the colours all look good as far as I can tell. So yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy to put the rear back on and say that this TV has been fixed. How long it's going to last? I have no idea, but certainly, for the meantime at least, it saves forking out for a new one. I'm going to leave it here for the video, as putting the rear back on is not going to be particularly interesting. If you've got a TV that has a similar problem, I hope this video has been useful to you, and this sort of thing will apply to any brand of TV, not just the one that I've got here. And if you do have this particular TV, hopefully my little teardown of it is useful to you and make it a little bit easier for you to get the back off.